hate, or honestly comments of any kind to anyone mentioned in this video on behalf of me or yourself. The purpose of this video is to give my commentary and opinion on matters of public concern. Thank you. Order, order, order. We need to talk about this David thing, okay? We need to talk about the David thing. So a lot of y'all are asking me, talk about David, talk about the David story. Y'all, I'm going live like almost every single day on my other channel talking about the David story. So if you want like on the ground day-by-day updates, I'm doing that over there. But today I thought we could talk a little more about David's origin story. Imagine you're like 12 years old in Podunk, Texas. You used to have a lot of friends and a social circle. But ever since going from regular school to homeschool in 7th grade, your friends don't come around as much. Actually, they don't even call you. It's almost like you didn't even exist. And you've started to get lonely. You get more into video games. You meet a bunch of new friends online who happen to be older and are adults, and they make you feel less alone. You feel less like an outcast. Now, while you're online doing this video gaming, you start to notice there's other people online with huge platforms live streaming while they play video games. And they're getting millions of views. They have money, they have fame, they have power, they have friends. So naturally, you set out to become a famous online video gamer too. With lots of money and power and friends, what could possibly go wrong along the way? David Anthony Burke was born March 28, 2005. I think originally he's from New York, but at some point he moves with his family that includes 2 younger siblings, a brother and a sister, and his 2 parents who appear to still be together, into a modest home near or in Houston, Texas. Now, we do know that David went to regular school from, for some time, at least up until the 7th grade, and then for some unexplained and inexplicable reason, his parents pulled him out of regular school and started homeschooling him. Now, we don't know exactly why he got taken out of regular school. I mean, maybe he did say it somewhere before and I just missed it. But what we do know for sure is this was right around the same exact time that, according to David, he heard his first song ever. Okay, it's not quite that dramatic, but pretty much. He said that until he was in about the 6th or the 7th grade, he had never heard a song that wasn't classical music or gospel. He grew up in a very religious Pentecostal home, and he talks about this in his documentary, how much he loves the Lord and all that. Well, one day, before he starts homeschooling, he's, 6th or 7th grade, he's on the bus, and one of his friends has this song by Lil Pump called Gucci Gang.
Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. Spend 10 racks on a new chain. Spend 10 racks on a new chain. Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
After hearing that work of art, Gucci Gang by Lil Pump, on the school bus that day, the demon took full hold. I mean, that's just what it seems like to me. The world would never be the same.
Until I was like in 6th or 7th grade. I was like 13 at that point. And the first song that I heard was Gucci Gang by Lil Pump. Bro, oh my God. I remember I was on the bus and some kid was blasting it in his speaker. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I do want to listen to some other music today. So I was like, what is that, gang? What are you listening to, brother? And he was like, oh, this is that hot stuff, bro. You gotta listen to this right now. Download SoundCloud right now, big bro. I was like, all right, but I'll download it. And I downloaded SoundCloud, and then I got into Lil Pump. I got into Smoke Perp. I got into XXXTentacion and Ski Master Slump God, and like all the underground Playboy Cardi too at the time, Lil Uzi Vert at the time. And then after that, it was kind of just me and these underground rappers I was listening to. I remember I came home and I showed my little brother, and his mind was blown, bro, because he ain't listening to nothing else either. Like, I remember showing him, I showed him Location by Playboy Cardi, and he was just like, it was like a kid in a candy shop. Like, he was just going crazy. And to this day, he is Cardi's biggest glazer. Like, he is so, 2024 music, I'm Vamp, I'm Opium, 2024. Like, he will not shut up about Cardi.
So, I don't know if that has anything to do with why he started to become homeschooled, but he did say that he also brought this Gucci Gang by Lil Pump home to his little brother and was sharing the music with his little brother as well. Now, this is a household where they were not allowed to listen to that type of music. So I don't know. I might be just reading a little bit too much into it. I might just be doing too much speculating. But I do wonder if that wasn't some of or part of the reason why his parents did pull him out of regular school and start to homeschool him, because he was bringing Gucci Gang by Lil Pump home to his little brother, among other things. I don't know. Anyway, He's bored, he's lonely, he's isolated, he's wanting to have experiences and all of that. And really, he's not even going outside. That's what he says in interviews. Like, I wasn't even doing anything. I wasn't even going outside. I was staying inside playing video games, meeting these, older people. He's like, I met a bunch of older people online. They really started to expand his perspectives. And I just put in my little notes here, aka grooming. I mean, this is kind of like, we're working on a video right now. I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but like, this just keeps coming up over and over. Little kids getting online, being exposed to things before they're the age of 18 that they shouldn't be exposed to by adults, and then all sorts of calamity ensues. Anyway, he's like, I'm in the game, I'm in the online games, and these older people would vent to me on the game. I was like 14 or 15. I didn't have any clue how I wasn't a therapist, but these adults, they were talking about so-called real life things.
I got on Fortnite and kids would vent to me and I would vent to them and about my homeschool experience, and they would vent to me about their relationship problems. And when I was like 16, I was just like on Discord talking to people.
And this just reminds me of, like, again, Nova, her mom. I didn't have a therapist, though I was telling her grown stuff at 10 years old. That's not as cute as you think it is. Anyway, when David was like 16 or 17, he approached his mother in distress, tears in his eyes.
I'm playing my video games, I'm thinking I'll make good money, and then I see all of these red money signs on my YouTube account. So I was making $0. I was getting copyright strike left and right.
So he starts gaming online, he does start making his videos, and he realizes at some point that if you put certain viral songs in your video game compilations, then those songs just were magically kind of make your thing go viral. He was very good at figuring out which songs were viral. He would put them in his video. He said overnight his video game compilation videos started to get more and more views. He was making tons of money, and that is until all of the red dollar signs hit. The copyright strikes started to hit the channel. He was getting videos removed. He had spent painstaking hours creating and editing these videos only to have them blocked, restricted, demonetized, etc. because he's using this copyrighted music. And he specifically blames and credits, I should say, UMG, Universal Music Group, for doing these copyright strikes. And so he's distraught and upset. His big dreams of becoming the next big thing, they were getting squashed and smashed because he's like, look, I just figured out how to ride the algorithm with these viral songs. Now I'm getting copyright struck. Now I'm going to have to go back to getting no views again. What am I going to do? He's crying and he approaches his mom in distress and he's like, Mom, what do I do? And she's like, if you don't get out of my face and just learn how to make your own music, go. I'm trying to talk to my friend on the phone, or something like that. And I mean, that's pretty close to how he actually describes it. I'll put a clip here.
So then fast forward like a month or two, I'm making a lot of money. My mom's like, okay, maybe the game's not rotting your brain. I start getting copyright strikes left and right from UMG. And I'm like, what in the world is UMG? I don't know what UMG is. Yeah. So I'm not making any money now. I got the red money sign on all my videos. And I'm like crying to my mom about it. I'm like, yo, I don't know what to do. I'm not making any money anymore, blah, blah, blah. And she was like on a phone or something. She was like, just make your own music. Go, get out of my face. Make your own music. And I was like, wait a minute. I could probably do that.
And you never did it before in your life?
Never. I've never touched like a DAW, anything. I played instruments. I was in church choir when I was 13.
Did you sing?
I sang. I couldn't sing, but I sang.
So you just literally only made music so you could make a few more dollars
exactly.
on your...
Because of his ability, I know he's able to play and do, so I said, just make your own music. And that was that.
He does just that, and then he ends up, becoming household name. But here's the timeline, and this is how it plays out. The year is 2017, and this revolutionary game called Fortnite comes out, okay? And David, he claims to be one of the first people that ever played Fortnite in the whole world.
So basically, I played Fortnite from 2017 to 2021. Game came out in 2017. I was one of the first people to ever play the game. My goal on Fortnite...
You were the first person? How?
I had like this small group of friends that would literally spend 8 hours a day looking for the newest games that were released on PlayStation. Okay. And I was playing Fortnite Season 1, like had all the passes, everything. Okay. So I played that game. I became a YouTuber. I was playing Call of Duty, Fortnite, all these different type of games. To try to become like the biggest next thing, streamer, Kai Cenat, everything.
Did anyone care?
No.
Okay. 200
views my first video.
What? That's a lot.
A steady 60 after.
He says his goal was to become the next big thing online, the next biggest streamer, like Kai Cenat. Now, I mean, for timeline purposes, I'm not even sure Kai Cenat was out of middle school at this point. But anyway, that's what he said. He keeps playing his games, and then he's posting these compilations, and he's getting subscribers. So he says that it was around, or exactly, December 21st, 2021, where he looked up on his phone how to make music. And this free app called BandLab pops up, and not sponsored, but hit me up, BandLab, if y'all wanna.
How did you make your first song?
So this is December 21st, 2021. And I looked up how to make music on iPhone, and this app called BandLab comes up. I click on it, I put my Apple earbuds in, and I use my sister's closet as the studio. So I'm like in here, it's dark. We got like robes and everything, blankets, whatever. And I'm looking up type beats on YouTube. I looked up emo piano type beat for the first song I ever dropped. And then I freestyled the whole thing, pitched it down, slowed it down, try to make, cause in 2021, all the chopped and screwed stuff was still like kind of trending. So I dropped it on SoundCloud. Didn't put it in the video yet, but then it started going up on SoundCloud, and I was like, okay, it's time.
But how's it going up on SoundCloud?
I have no clue. I put the hashtags though.
What
the tags.
hashtags?
Hashtag emo, hashtag chill, hashtag lo-fi, hashtag slowed and reverb, hashtag blow this up, and hashtag For You page.
It was Blow This Up. That was the one that really took
it. Was, and the For You page too.
He looks up how to make music. He goes all around his house trying to figure out where's gonna have the best acoustics. And he settles for his little sister's walk-in closet. According to him, that's the favorite child.
Where I was when I made it in my little sister's closet as my studio. I remember the first time I went in there, I kind of like scoped it around. I was looking at different areas of my house for this new like hobby of mine that my mom told me to do. And take a look around. This is my little sister's room. And this happens to be my little sister's closet. I do not have a walk-in closet.
I know I would go upstairs and he would be in the closet making music and say, oh, I'm making music for myself. I was like, okay.
Sound isolation, insulation right there. The robes, all your sound, it's going right there, boom, 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 right?
That closet is right over our bedroom, so every time he goes in there, we know.
I'm scared. I was like, okay, that sounds kind of good. It feels like you don't care. And I stopped. So I was like, bro, this could potentially go somewhere. I went back. You can see the vocal tracks and stems here. I'm scared. So overnight, I literally just threw this up. How do you get your BandLab to sound like this? It sounds like studio, etc., etc., etc. And as soon as I saw this, I posted it, and after that, it just went stupid.
So the first song he made, again, just to put in his video game compilations, was a song called Run Away. Run Away. And he says that he did not put that one out to put it on streaming services or anything like that. He was like, for that one, I just was practicing. I was trying to get the vibe, trying to get the feel or whatever.
This Runaway, it's the first song I ever made ever in my life. Pretty weird song. Looking back at it now, it's kind of like an abstract, really abstract kind of piece of music. I don't even know if I would call it music. It's just like a sound.
But turns out he kind of had a knack for that too. He had a knack for that too, because the second song that he ever made has at least 100 million streams today for this second song called Here With Me, which we won't be able to play any of, or else the whole video is going to get blocked by guess who? UMG. We'll circle back to how that could be the case in a moment. But anyway, it's got 250 million views on this video today. All right, and this is something he wrote in his sister's closet with a cell phone on a free app. It's right around during this time that an alter ego would be born. Now, we are going to get back to this alter ego, but I want to put it, because we're talking about the timeline, right here. It was during the signing process of negotiating and signing with Interscope Records, Josh Marshall and these people, that he made the video for Romantic Homicide. That's the first time we're going to see Itami. But this is around the period of time where Itami starts to become born. It's this idea of an alter ego in David's mind. Now, during this time, he's making the first song, Run Away, the second song, Here With Me, the Here With Me song. He actually didn't release it as a normal song at first. He released it in this high-pitched up type of... I'll put a clip in here. I know y'all have seen these TikToks. They all did go super viral. But he was basically doing covers of songs, real songs, as Alvin the Chipmunk, pretty much. That's what he was calling it, because he was getting copyright struck. So he's trying to find a way around the copywriting. And then he starts writing his own songs, making his own music, and he does that in the Alvin the Chipmunk voice too.
But I promoted it as a chipmunk. So I was like, Alvin made the next hit, blah, 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 heartbreak, and then crazy. But then people didn't connect the dots still. So I
Show
changed
me that
my name.
one. Show me
I got
that
you.
first.
I got you.
So one day he's like, all right, look, here's my new song. Alvin the Chipmunk wrote a new song. If y'all like it, I'll put out the original. And people loved it. So he puts out the original. And this is just, it starts to show this wasn't an accident. This kid, and at the time he's a teenager. He's under the age of 18 at this time. He knows how to catch the algorithm. He's got the sauce. Somehow or another, whether he's doing it as Alvin the Chipmunk, whether it's somebody else, whether he's figuring out which songs are already on the algorithm, he's figured it out. And he starts getting call from record label after record label. Now, right as his songs are blowing up, Kylie Jenner used his sound and he got shadow banned. Okay, so I'll refrain from any conspiracy theories, but I do just want to put that right there. Okay. So after those first 2 songs, this is like pretty much his 3rd song he puts out, Romantic Homicide. It's his most popular song today. It's got over 1.5 billion streams on streaming services, and he put that one out, debuted it as Alvin the Chipmunk as well. So he puts it out in this high-pitched voice, and again, he's like, I'll put out the real one if you like it. His mom hated it. And I can imagine that she did, because she's this very Pentecostal, religious lady who didn't even let her kids listen to that music. I mean, this is really somebody who went above and beyond. She didn't even let her kids listen to that. They could only listen to gospel and classical. She's like, no, you're not. What do you mean? Romantic Homicide, please.
And then I made Romantic Homicide, and it was so different than everything else I had made because it was actually sad. It was slow, it was sad, it was emotional, it had weight to it. Most of my other songs, like Take Me to the Sun and The Dirty Secrets before that, and You and I, they're all like these indie up-tempo records that you could just like do whatever to. And I played it for my mom. And whenever my mom hates something, I know it's cool. Like when I used to get up and get dressed for school in the morning, I put on this cool fit. She would like, take that off, put on a suit or something like that, I knew it was cool if she hated it. I played it for her in the car, and she was like, David, this song is too violent. You're talking about people in your music? No, not my son. And I was like, wait, I might be onto something, bro.
David previously thought it was too dark too, but once his mom hated it, he knew he had a hit. Again, he talks at some point about how he was feeling during the time he was writing this song, and this is before he graduated from high school. He said he felt isolated. Homeschooling really takes a toll on a kid, he said. He says he was sad. For 4 years he homeschooled. Romantic Homicide came from a place of him wanting to feel what the other kids were feeling. He wanted to feel heartbreak. He made up and invented fake scenarios in his own mind, played out fantasies in his mind just to write songs about it. And that, he said, later would become his life. Ended up being, it was a little prophetic.
Homeschooling really takes a toll on a kid. Like
isolation.
Yeah, and there's outlets like I made a couple friends now that were homeschooled, but they had like these groups that they would go to like bi-weekly and just to socialize. But I didn't have that. Like there was no like extracurricular activities I was involved in it was just me at home playing Fortnite, getting schoolwork done, learning how to code and build computers for 4 years. 4 years. So yeah, man, Romantic Homicide was just like I wanted to feel what the other kids were feeling. Like everybody I knew, well, in middle school that I didn't talk to anymore, everybody had relationships. I didn't have a relationship. I wanted to do that. I wanted to be involved in this or have a heartbreak for myself. So I kind of just like made up these scenarios of myself getting heartbroken and being in love and stuff.
Now, David has claimed that God and this so-called faith-based thinking, being founded on the rock of God, was still important to him during writing Romantic Homicide. He said they were still having Bible studies every Saturday.
And we have family Bible study every Saturday.
In the mini documentary, there's a video interview with his Pentecostal preacher pastor. I mean, you can see him right there. He was in the gospel choir, David was.
It's still with me, like that's my main melodic influence for a lot of the stuff I do right now. And like gospel and classical as a whole. Just like I love pianos. And so a lot of the new music I'm making has a lot of pianos in it. It's a lot of soul. So yeah, that's a big part, especially being choir. You help out quite a bit with our youth department here. Always so inclusive with all of the youth group. It's the ability that you have to connect with people.
He says God is grounding to him. God is his therapist. When he gets overwhelmed, he goes and asks God, how do I approach this? How do I handle this? How do I do it properly? He said he prays. Okay, so I mean, other than like a little bit of like dark imagery in his art, kind of like, all right, so cute, I feel like I'm rooting for David at that point, not knowing what we know today. So he does finish high school, and he had released those 2 songs in July. So I guess, amendment, it was after. He had just finished high school. He released those 2 songs in July. By August, he's viral, and labels were calling. I mean, they wasted no time. No time at all. He's going viral, and the labels are calling.
He came downstairs one night, and we were in the kitchen, and he said, I have something to tell y'all. It's like, what? It's like, this label, it's like, keep calling, and labels. We were like, what are you saying? Why stop playing?
I thought it was a scam. I said, listen, David, just be careful who you're talking to. There's a lot of things going on online. Until we flew to LA, it's like, okay, this is reality. This is not a scam. This is not.
His music at that point started to get more views than the video game videos, and he was making more money on the music through the DistroKid app than streaming. So he eventually does put out a music video for romantic Homicide. He's 17, he's uploading songs as Alvin the Chipmunk, he starts getting calls from labels, he ends up signing with a label, Interscope. He does everything on his cell phone. Again, earbuds and a little microphone. You know, he don't even have a microphone. He's got the little one on the headphone jack. That's what he made Romantic Homicide in that. It's crazy. Okay, so at some point he has to start going by an artist name, and that's where this David is born, this D4vd. Predictably, David chose this name to do well in the algorithm. He knew if you typed in D4vd, it would be, algorithmic. So I wasn't really able to find in the timeline that I had given myself to work on this video, I was not able to get into too much of the label negotiations, but that's something that I do wonder about and I may explore at a later time. Like, I'm very interested in which labels were hitting him up, because he says that there were many labels that were hitting him up, but he did end up signing with Interscope, which is under UMG, which I find to be very interesting considering that's the whole reason he started making music at all, was because UMG was copyright striking him. So they kind of created this person, and then they sign him. So anyway, he gets signed, but he doesn't have a lot of life experience. And throughout this video, David reminds me of other artists, young artists who I've covered in the past. I believe I already mentioned some earlier. Mr. Beast, he reminds me of, I don't know if I would call Mr. Beast an artist specifically, but a YouTuber. Like, he poured his whole heart and soul and identity into no matter what, doing whatever it takes to get famous on YouTube. That's what he wanted. Now here, this, he didn't have a lot of life experience. It started to remind me at this point of Usher. If you've seen my video that I made on Usher, the rise of Usher, he was just he was like 13 whenever he started auditioning for these record labels, and he was singing like songs that were older than his age. Like, what does this 13-year-old know about this? But nevertheless, David says he didn't really have a lot of life experience. He had never even heard a song till 6th grade other than gospel and classical. And we can't just have these unadulterated Christian good moral kids running around here in Hollywood unadulterated. Absolutely not. That simply won't do. Another place, he's like, when he first came out on the scene, he had all these ideas. He didn't even have a genre locked down. He could do anything. He's like, I hadn't lived very much life. So of course, naturally what they do what they do. They put him out on tour with SZA. And girl, we already know what SZA gets up to, okay?
There might be like a 75-year-old man sitting next to a young man who's just taken like toad venom for the first time, and he's like trying to find himself this evening next to like my mom wearing like a bedazzled shirt that says like bada bing on it or something, and then like SZA's like singing a song in the other room. And
now put a pin in Benny Blanco, because he's gonna keep popping his little head right out the groundhog hole too. He said he looked forward to having his first love, and specifically his first heartbreak, because then he could write a better album. I mean, this is how naive this kid is at this point. He'd never even been in love. So God only knows what SZA and David were getting up to between 2021 as a homeschool kid and 2025 to give him these so-called life experiences. But they were doing stuff. I do know that his mom and family, his whole family, went on the tour bus with him on the SZA tour to most of the, maybe all of the locations. But I do wonder if during this time is whenever he may have become acquainted with Celeste Rivas Hernandez. It's all giving me flashbacks to Usher, who was with P. Diddy. Remember that? P. Diddy at the flavor camp after grinding for the grown ladies at the LaFace Records because he had to go, quote, learn the lifestyle, and they were fighting over the cornflakes. Speaking of P. Diddy and cornflakes, what about whenever he took a guardianship over a little young 15, 16-year-old Justin Bieber for those 24 or 48 hours or whatever? Anyway, I digress. So he says he was homeschooled. He didn't have life experiences. People were even asking him, like, how do you write about love and all these beautiful things if you've never been in a relationship? He said, I'm a prophet, bruh. I just spoke it into my own life.
Hey, you were living a different life.
Yeah, I didn't have nothing to talk about like that. And people were asking me, how'd you write all these beautiful songs when you have no relationship? I was like, man, I'm a prophet, bro. I just spoke it into my own life. Like, crazy.
Finding friends, losing friends, finding relationships, losing relationships. Everything's kind of been shaping and leading up to this project. The project is the album.
Of, getting outside my house and exploring the world and finding friends, losing friends, finding relationships, losing relationships. It's just everything has kind of been shaping and leading up to this project in such a domino effect way, you know?
Like just living life and it
Yeah.
fueling.
This album is my life. Like Withered is my life.
So now let's talk about the debut album. It came out this year. The name of the album is Withered, in reference to a beautiful white rose that gets damaged. Withered, debut album, it comes out April this year. And some of the things David says in the promo, in retrospect, are a little strange in hindsight. Like, first of all, he said Discord is my biggest fan base. Put a pin in that.
I guess the most important part is that my Discord likes it. My Discord is my core fan base. So if, if someone's not vibing with someone at Interscope, I'll be like, I sneak it in the Discord and leak it myself.
Really? T.
He talks about this ghost of a girl that he killed. He talks about an alter ego, Itami, having victims. He's a cult leader. I'll just put some clips in here.
I get carried away by the cult members of Itami's cult. So Itami has gained a name for himself, and he has these followers now that are agents of chaos like him. And they also wear the blindfolds. And when they wear the blindfolds, that signifies that they're being controlled by him. And the red string that they kind of wrapped around these trees and moved around my body are symbolizing the Korean ideology of the invisible string theory. Entire aesthetic and my entire being is like withered. My entire being.
What does it mean to be withered?
So the entire aesthetic of this project is returning to the dust. A rose grows from the dirt and then it also decays back into the dirt. So with this project, the way I made it, the way I'm talking about the themes on this project, the way I'm talking about my emotions and my feelings, it's all returning to the dirt with this. It's like a entire life cycle.
So as it turns out, this album wasn't even David's first or second attempt at making an album. He had already tried to make an album 2 times ever since he got signed. He worked on making an album for 2.5 years, but he said the one that ended up actually being his Withered album only took about, a week or 10 days to make the whole album?
A song a day for 2 weeks. We stayed there for 2 weeks and made a song a day, and we tried our best to beat the first song, beat the second song, beat the third song, just make the best music possible.
And so it was that he was trying with these other kind of probably softer, less demonic and less sociopathic murderer vibe. One of them was called Petals with Thorns or Petals to Thorns, one called Lost Petal. And all this kiss from a rose, falling on the thorn, kiss from the gray. It's kind of just giving what is the rose supposed to symbolize? Anyway, so he's like, petals and thorns and the lost petal are what I wanted my life to be. It's what I wanted my life to be. Withered, the album we actually end up getting, is my life, he says. It is his life, Withered.
As I said before, I view myself as this rose, very beautiful, but can stab you, can hurt you with the thorns. And with the withering process, withered is kind of like the decaying and the withering away and the ending of the life cycle of this rose, kind of signifying the ending of an era. I want there to kind of be like a battle of good and evil between me and Itami at some point to signify the ending of the era.
He starts working on the album. Again, at some point he's making 1 song a day. He starts then, of course, once you sign with a record label, they want to help you out. They want to get your album out, but they want to use your clout too, let's be honest. So they start kind of putting him with these other artists to, synergy the whole thing up. He works with Ryan Tedder. I think he's a producer, songwriter. He's very well known in the industry and very talented, Ryan Tedder.
Right. I mean, Ryan Tedder was definitely, still is a big mentor for me and just the songwriting process and how to structure songs, because I came into this thing, man, with Romantic Homicide, there's no hook and things like that. So he's trying to teach me how to keep that magic, but to still, elevate.
He actually told David for the first time what a hook is in a song. His Romantic Homicide song does not have a hook. I don't think a song needs a hook. I think that's just a myth. They trying to tell us what a song is so that they can be the only ones doing it over there. No. But he starts to kind of learn the cookie cutter pop music style instead of just the natural what's coming from his mind in his closet. He also does 4 songs in the making of the album. He did 4 songs with Benny Blanco at this studio underground. So I don't know what he was doing underground in the underground studio with Benny Blanco, but Benny Blanco was there. Shocking.
The music. I mean, even Benny Blanco, the first 4 sessions I had with Benny, we were in Aloe at the studio underground, and then I would pull up, I would be like, yo, let's get to work. I'll pop up on the mic. He'd be like, no, you're not doing that. You're not doing that. I'll be like, what you mean? He'd pull out earbuds for me and then tell me to pull out BandLab. He exported the beat from his computer to my phone, and then he'd leave. He'd just leave and say, I'll come back in 45 minutes. Show me what you got. And I was like, okay.
So in the Withered album, there's some, interludes. It's those little mini songs between songs where it's maybe we'll be talking or stuff like that. And there's an interlude called The Invisible String Theory or something like that, where David's talking to a girl. And the girl is like, it sounds like almost like a playful, but they're kind of a little bit arguing, banter, I'll say. Maybe banter. And she's talking about an invisible string theory, this, that, the other. But what I found to be very interesting is this Ariana Grande, Bestiana right here, Zach Sang, he's asking some of the most specific and, in my opinion, contrived questions.
You can listen to all of this human being's music. It's waiting for you. Everything David has is on Amazon Music. Go. So what? Producer Kim has told me that you wear a bonnet.
Like almost as if people knew, okay, put your tinfoil hat on, this is just conspiracy theory, okay, but almost as if people knew who wrote the questions that they handed to Zach Sang, that maybe David wasn't supposed to be talking to this girl. It didn't look natural. The guy's like, so you have these cool interludes, and you told us that you've never been in love before, but is this a love interest? It's a female. I'll play the clip. It's just weird. It feels contrived. He's obviously reading off of a paper.
Can we talk about like the interludes and like even the the verbal exchanges, because they really do punctuate the album, and like there's some exchanges between you and a female, seems to be your love interest, right? What is that adding to the story?
It's a whole different layer of depth for an album. I feel like, especially for me, when I'm having dialogue now and things that add to the story. I'm talking about the invisible string theory, which is a common theme and one of the most the motifs for the project. I really wanted the listeners to feel like they're reading a book almost, and they get into a different chapter with every song. But there's also that kind of pause where they can take every song in by itself and then have this kind of visual landscape in this interlude.
David kind of takes it in stride, perhaps he's dating Celeste at this time, perhaps he's not. Can you be dating somebody that's under the age? I don't know. He did 2 Zach Sang interviews. One interview he did with Zach Sang, he was 17. One interview he did with Zach Sang, I think he had just turned 20. So in the interview, David's like, yeah, the reason that I put the voice of a female in there is a whole different layer of depth. And this is, we're starting to get more insight into how David's mind works. Like, he does see his relationships as a means to an end, and the end is making an album. He says earlier, I cannot wait to go through a heartbreak because I am going to make a good album when that happens. He's saying here, it's a whole different level of depth when I'm having dialogue. It's more depth for my album if I put the dialogue in there. It adds things to the story. He said also this is a really important interlude because of the invisible string theory itself. The string on the front of the album cover, he's wrapped all up in it. The girl whose voice is in the interlude says it, the invisible string theory. She's kind of defining what she thinks it means. And then David in these promo interviews, he's like, well, the irony is this girl ain't even in my life anymore. Boom, flash. I mean, are we talking about Celeste?
I believe the last time you were here, didn't you say you never experienced love or hadn't been in love? You didn't?
Yeah, I wasn't in a relationship then. Nah.
But today you are? Or you are?
I've been through a couple. I'm single still right now, but I've been through a few, and they've taught me a lot of things, and they've shown me what love is and what love isn't, and how to approach it, and how to be human with it and not be so artist, and not look for the things to write about in these types of situations. And I've kind of been more mature about it and getting emotionally intelligent with it. And with this interlude, it's kind of like telling my view on what the invisible string theory is, or the scarlet string, or the whatever. This is so many different names.
Is that like that? Is it also connected to like the rope that's around?
Yes.
In the
album
video?
cover, I'm covered in this string.
Now, there will eventually, we're going to get to it in a moment, in a little while, be a little girl who turns up in videos with David and who turns up no longer among the living with her body in front of David's Tesla trunk. Okay, so we'll get to that. But all through this, I mean, a lot of people already know all those parts of the story and stuff, so really that's not the point of this video. But I do just want to focus on some of these previous things that David has said as a compliment, to show his mindset, to show that he had tried 2 times before to make an album, and it got rejected by the label. Why? Was it not serial enough? I don't know. Were they waiting until he turned 20 years old? So I don't know, okay? But people say they're talking about this invisible string theory. The string can't be cut, it can't be severed. David says, but it can.
Because that's a real conversation that happened. And the irony of it was that person that was saying, I love you, she's not in my life anymore. So it's like, people say that the string can't be cut and the connection cannot be severed. but I feel like it can sometimes. And that's why I wanted to put, Afterlife and all these songs that feel like endings and conclusions.
If you build up too much bad karma, if you do somebody wrong, the invisible string can be severed and it's not repairable.
If you build up too much bad karma, that can be severed, or if you do somebody wrong, that connection is severed and it's non-repairable. So there's different versions of this, but I view it as we're all connected through a universal emotion called love, and that's why my album is mostly dealing with the theme of love and that connection.
Now, the last song on the album is called Afterlife. That's something a little weird. He said it's the carrying the casket moment. He said this debut album is actually not a debut at all. It's the closing of a chapter.
People use their debut sometimes to be like, oh, this is me and this is me and my art. But this is like the closing of a chapter, especially for like my main fans, and even for the new people that's coming in. They can recontextualize my music with the previous project. So
this is the end of something, not the beginning. This is a goodbye. In fact, and indeed, every song in the album at the end winds down as if it is a goodbye. Withered is my life, David said. When 2 years ago, he had never even been in love. And now he's withered? What in the hell happened in the last 2 years? Now, he's been through a few relationships, he says, and it taught him a few things. What love is, what love isn't, how to approach love, and very importantly, not to be so looking for things to write about in these situations. Again, showing that he's starting to develop some level of maturity. He's developing. However, he's still thinking about his relationships and love as a means to write a song. So we talked about Itami before already, but Itami is pretty much the star of the album. His name in Japanese supposedly means pain, and he is weaving his way into all David's relationships. He's the villain of the album. He's ruining David's relationships, he's inducing trauma, and he's the Asian of chaos.
He's basically the Asian of chaos in this scenario.
He said that.
So is Itami attached to this album? And that's Japanese for pain.
Absolutely, yeah. Itami is the villain of this album. He's the one that is making me withered and feel all these emotions like grief and pain and confusion. He's the one that is weaving his way into my relationships and ruining them and inducing trauma and things like that.
He's like, once people hear the album, it's gonna click for everyone at the same time. This Itami, what he did.
But once they hear this interlude and hear the project, it all kind of connects and it's kind of gonna click for everybody at the same time. And I'm so excited to see what that kind of looks like in real time.
And then he's like, okay, and I want to also like keep introducing more alter ego characters. I guess they're all going to be him. This Itami guy is like a murmurer, okay? And David is also, he's got DID basically. He's got DID. He's got one personality, Itami. He's a killer. He's a murmurer. And then he's got the other personality, the detective. And the detective is looking into the murmurs of the murmurer. Okay, so I mean, listen. I think there's a DSM-5 diagnosis for something like that, but I'm not a doctor. I don't know.
And a big part of that manga was an evil version of me named Itami, which means pain in Japanese. And he wears his blindfold, and he's basically an agent of chaos and kind of my alter ego. And the story of the manga went like I was a detective, and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, kind of like Fight Club with Tyler Durden, and he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as the detective.
So he wrote about things in this album like heartbreak, stuff he had no idea about at the time, but then they ended up coming true. Prophetic, he said. He said, I'm always looking for writing material when I'm going through these things. Did I manifest this, he says? These songs ended up soundtracking his life.
Petals of Thorns and Lost Petals are what I wanted my life to be. And then Withered is my life.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So where do they align at all?
They do indeed, because like I said, I kind of felt like it was a prophetic thing that I was speaking about heartbreak and love and all these things I had never experienced before, but then I actually experienced them, and it's like, yo, I really said this about myself 2 years ago. It's happening.
But is it what you really expected?
It's weird because I have such a weird view and take on situations like that because I'm always looking for writing material in these types of things. So instead of taking it to the chin, being like, oh my God, like, I'm heartbroken, like, I go straight to my phone or band lab, go straight to the studio and write about it. I never actually like fully process situations like that because I'm always expecting it to happen, and then as soon as it happens, I'm writing about it.
So you're expecting
Then he said something that really did spark my interest a lot. He said he puts himself in the minds of other people when he writes songs. This reminded me again of Ariana Grande, where Zach Sang, you know, they give all the DID candidates over there to Zach Sang to do the interviews, and then they ask them very specific questions that could later be used against them in court. It's very interesting how that played out. And listen, this is not, I don't want y'all to take this as like I'm somehow defending David. I am not. If he did what he stands accused of doing, which is nothing right now, at the time of the recording of this video, he hasn't been charged, he hasn't been named even as a suspect or a person of interest. But the internet, you know, has taken a stand, and if he is guilty of those things, y'all put him under the jail. I don't care if somebody tried to set you up or not. There's certain things that you can say no to. And so that being said, we're just kind of getting into the background. You know, I just wanted to show y'all a little more of the back end over here. He's like, you know, the second song, the one that has 250 million just on the YouTube music video alone. He wrote that by putting himself into the mind of Carl from the movie Up.
This is how I made the song Here With Me, okay? I'm eating my Chipotle one day, right? And I'm watching this movie Up. It's by Disney. It's about these old people. It's really cool. You should go watch it. But the wife, she's about to die. And I'm like, dude, I can make a song about these old people. So I grab my phone, right? And I also grab my earbuds. And then I ran to my closet, right? And I open up BandLab and I start cooking away. I don't care how long it takes. And then boom. After that, I'm like cooking for like hours. I'm cooking. I open up the hyperbolic time chamber. I look around. I'm like, nobody knows I just made the most best song ever. So I just started celebrating and everything, you know what I'm saying? And then I go straight to post it on TikTok.
He had watched Up, he got sad. And you know, interesting that the storyline of that movie is that they meet when they're very young, like they're kids in a treehouse, and they stay together forever. So it does make me wonder, you know, did he have this idealistic version of love in his mind as well when he wrote this song? He said, yeah, he just like put himself in the mind of Carl, and he just put you know, that's what, yeah, then I wrote the song, and it's got all these views. And I'm like, all right, well, is he putting himself in the mind of Itami, the murdering cult leader? Did he do that just a little too hard, too far, too fast one day? That's what I want to know. Well, as I'm watching these interviews that David was doing for the album promo, which again, they started when he was 17. He did promo for an album for 2 years because he kept having to rewrite it. And you could really see that he does start to grow up a little. You know, he's kind of bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in that first Zach Sang interview. Hello, everybody. Hey. He's all excited, charismatic, you know. And, you know, then he's kind of starting to turn into a little more, you know, something else by 2 years later. But it started to be very clear that his life had changed. For the better, for the worse, in my opinion. I mean, you would have to ask him for his opinion, but somewhere along the way, David ended up actually getting exactly what he wanted. All of his wildest dreams had actually come true in a very short amount of time. He was worldwide famous. He had money, he had fans, he had Discord, adoring Discord followers. But things had already begun to change in other ways. Like, for example, even though David prefers to work alone, he starts collaborating a lot with other people on this debut album, and he has issues doing it. He's used to singing into the microphone jack, and they're trying to get him to sing into these $5,000 microphones. They're trying to get him to write music outside of his genre. He doesn't really have a genre. They're trying to feel out his genre. I mean, he just doesn't really, it's not easy to work with other people for David. He don't like working with them because he could do it himself. So having to say it with words is hard for him. And also, yeah, again, I mean, remember, he also had to redo his earlier album twice because the team didn't like the album. It wasn't like, oh no, I scrapped it because I don't like it. He was just putting songs out. When you put something out as an album, you got to have your alter ego on it, and the alter ego has to be the brand or whatever. And the team keeps, you know, nope, go back. By the time the album is about to come out, the team is also telling him what to wear and what not to wear. They didn't want him wearing his bonnet.
Producer Kim has told me that you wear a bonnet?
Dude, I was gonna wear it today, but I got told not to.
Wait, so, okay.
And his bonnet is actually a signature part of his look. Like, he gets recognized based on it. And they're like, stop wearing that. Wear a do-rag instead.
People look at me through a crowd and see the bonnet and they know it's me. It's so crazy.
All from the bonnet.
All from the bonnet.
But at least some things remain the same. David was still gaming online for like 6 hours a day, they said in this interview.
What is your relationship right now with gaming? Are you still playing?
Dude, every day.
For like 6 hours still?
Yeah, I got my gaming laptop in my backpack in the green room waiting on me to come finish Assassin's Creed Shadows, bro.
He's on a promo for an album that's going to be launching into a worldwide tour, and he's gaming for 6 hours a day, and it just makes me remember, who did he meet when he first started gaming all those years ago? Older adults. So I don't know who he's playing with now. I mean, girl, I really don't know. But when he's on the promo, he's like, you know, I'm looking forward to making more albums, making more songs, making more projects. There's going to be new alter egos. New perspectives are going to be coming in. And one thing David says he wants to remain the same is that he never wants his songs not to have a meaning. Hint, hint, all of his songs have a meaning. None of this stuff is just getting written down because out of thin air. He's saying, I'll always want my songs to have a meaning. So the album comes out. It does, I think it reaches 78 on Billboard or something. But then he announces a tour. And the tour was supposed to start, and did in fact and indeed start, in late July or early August 2025. The first show was supposed to be the end of July. I think the first show ended up actually being August 1st. But he does a few shows, and he's not on tour for about 1 month before all hell breaks loose. His life will never be the same. The news is reporting that a perhaps dismembered body, perhaps torso, I mean, we get all kinds of different stories, but for sure human remains are found in the front trunk of a Tesla in the Hollywood Tow parking lot. It had been towed there several days before, 2 or 3 days before, for a parking violation, having been abandoned, apparently. Again, that's all we knew. The next day, we find out that the body or the remains were found in the car of a famous singer named David. I think that was the first time any of us ever heard of this guy. A lot of us, I should say. But he'd been on tour for a month. So it was like kind of hard to say like, oh, he did it. Could have been on tour. So, I mean, it's kind of suspicious, but it seems like a pretty good alibi. Then a week or, 2 goes by. It's reported that he's working with authorities. He's cooperating with authorities. And the remains are identified. At the time, it was being reported as if she were 15 years old, but actually, as it turned out, she was 14 when she died. 14-year-old runaway, who had run away when she was 13, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. She had a tattoo that said "Shh" on her finger, her right index finger. Now we're like, oh God, is that something to do with that? And whenever it ends up becoming public that the remains belong to a teenager who went missing when she's 13, who didn't even live till her 15th birthday, the TikTokers took it from there. They took it from there, Barney, because they found every single thing that David ever did, didn't do, which direction he passed, in. They knew everything David did. They started finding TMZ's breaking news. David had the matching tattoo. Videos of them together start to surface where they're talking about really inappropriate things. And people start to speculate that David and Celeste were dating. Discord chats, Discord comments start coming up. Stay out of freaking Discord. How many times do I have to tell y'all? Just stay out of it. Discord is only a liability. It's only a liability, and I wish y'all would listen to me. But you know what? If you're the type to not want to listen to me, then you get what you get. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have a Discord and I never will. Nope. Guess what? All the Discord chats have now resurfaced. They're trying to say she was pregnant. They're trying to say all kind of stuff. She wasn't pregnant. But as of the time of the recording of this video right now today, they still have not announced. And if they do announce it in the time of the editing or whatever, I'll put the clip in. But they still have not announced specifically a cause of death. They have not announced a suspect. They have not announced any person of interest. It's all just, Reddit, TMZ, News Nation, and YouTubers. After the news breaks, at some point, that it was Celeste and this, that, the other, the cops do get a search warrant for David's house that he was living in. And we start to get some information about this house. For example, David didn't own the house. In fact, David didn't even have his name on the lease. The person whose name was on the lease was a man by the name of Josh Marshall, and he was renting it from this Serbian guy who lives in DC. And Josh Marshall has also come out on TikTok comments, very official statement on TikTok comment, and said any and all rumors are just that. Please only report on facts and, stuff like that. I don't know. I don't even know if that really was him, but they're reporting it in the news like it was him. But this house, David now has moved out at the time of the recording of this video. Josh Marshall, they were saying he was living there. He said he was not living there. He lives with his own family in his own house, and he don't even talk to David. And I'm like, maybe don't say that if he's supposed to be somebody's manager. But the house, there's pictures of it available on Redfin or whatever, those real estate sites. And there's really nothing in this house. It's not really furnished that much. It's kind of empty. It's not a lot of art and decor. They have this one weird grandfather clock. And my first question is that where the secret tunnel entrance is? And then they have the statue of this little girl, and it's just, something ain't right with it. Something's wrong with it. I don't like it. I don't know if the statue was in there when David lived there. I just want y'all to look at the statue. Something's wrong with it. And it also reminds me of Benny Blanco's house. Remember this little girl on the oil painting? And speaking of paintings and tunnels, remember this tunnel?
You guys can't fit in here. It's amazing. There's all sorts of stuff you want. One time, one of my friends tumbled down this and was on the injured reserve list for 3 to 6 weeks.
Well, look how far away Benny Blanco's house is from this house. They neighbors. You could walk. Oh, also, by the way, update, Benny Blanco has sold that house now as of December. Wonder if that had anything to do with the timing of something else. But anyway, so, I mean, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to y'all about today. And there's a few weird things. There's a few weird things I've pointed out in this video. UMG being the one that was copyright striking him in the very first place. The fact he got shadow banned right before he signed to Interscope, like, you know, giving him a taste of views. And then girl, I don't know. I don't want to put any blame anywhere where it doesn't belong. Could be this guy is a sociopath, lunatic, maniac, needs to be locked up. Could be. But there's one piece of information that I just can't shake. And it's like, the sequence of events, I guess the chain of custody of the remains themselves. You see, it's being reported that David's Tesla was parked on the street for like a month without being moved. And the place where the car was parked wasn't actually on David's street. It was down the street and around the corner in front of somebody else's driveway. That's weird on its own. Then there's the fact that David's house that we're just talking about has 3 car parking spots inside the garage. Now people would be like, oh, well, maybe he didn't want to park the car in there because it would stink up the whole garage and the house. He wanted to park it down the street so it'd stink up over there. Okay, he wasn't there though. He wasn't at home. So why would he care if it stinks? Just bring it, you know, like, why wouldn't he park it right out there in front of his house? Why was it around the street, around the corner? For it to get found, for it to get towed. That's something that I just find weird. You know, they got stupid criminals, they got smart criminals. Maybe this is a stupid criminal move, but it don't sit right with me. And guess who has stopped all David music promo, including an album that was supposed to come out on September 19th and did not come out yet, that David wrote entirely by himself on his phone? UMG has stopped promo on all new David releases, but guess who still gets royalties for all the streams and the hike in popularity of David's songs? People have been going to listen to them, to analyze them. Guess who gets royalties for all that? UMG does. UMG is the reason David started making music in the very first place, because they were copyright striking, perhaps rightfully, his videos. He starts making music and it's UMG who signs him. He gets in a little trouble and he is innocent till proven guilty, just so we're clear. And they pull his new album from coming out. Would have been nice to have some new album sales to pay them lawyers, wouldn't it? It's just things to think about, okay? I'm keeping an open mind, and that's all I really had for this one. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation, neither are opinions, neither is speculation. Love you, Minnie K, bye. Kids these days so shameless, selling out real friends for a paycheck.